This would be the entrance gate and our holding pen. Cows would come in here along the left side onto the stand and go down to the end. We've been milking one cow at a time right now. I do have it set up to milk two with a modified gate system here. The building is 20 feet wide. It's almost too narrow for this type of entrance. If you're entering at the end, coming in straight, you could just copy what I did on the first stand, and it should be long enough to do two cows parallel if you would like to. The bar here is usually against the wall. We run the cow in, and whoever brings the cow in will pull the bar over. And we found that the motorcycle strap, where you can draw that down, works a lot better for different size cows, because then you can adjust where it is easier, and you can just cinch that in, and it works a lot better in my opinion than trying to hook the little chain links. One thing, we do have the feeder is mounted to the door, and it opens and closes, so that way it takes the feed away from in front of the cow, and then the door just slides open and then goes into our exit pen out there, and they can go out of the barn on that side. Probably as far as pros and cons to this system, we've milked with a regular head gate system before, and it was fine. But we do 14 cows in here every day, and like I said, we're just milking one at a time. But I'm looking to get set up for two very soon, and then later add a pipeline and maybe modify the building to run a pit with 4 in the next year or so. But didn't quite finish some of this how I would have liked to. If I had to do it again, I would have made the stand narrower. It's almost 48 inches wide. If you're running jerseys like we are, you probably could narrow it up maybe almost 6 inches or so, because some of the smaller cows, even with this bar that we have to pull in here, they still move around in this area more than what you would expect, where if it was moved over there on the front, if it was narrower all the way along, it probably would work a little better. The other thing I would change is I would go ahead and I would slope this concrete slopes towards the wall and to the drain at the end. I would give it more slope. I wasn't sure when I was building it how it was going to turn out. It does work well, but we have to work a little bit more at it to get the solids hosed down to get tracked in from our sawdust bedding pack. So I would slope it towards the wall a little bit more, but definitely towards the drain more if you decide to put a drain in, which if you're milking more than a couple cows, I would say is a must to be able to hose this down. The other thing I have not finished yet is I was going to add a stainless steel drip edge on the edge of this to where it stuck up, a little bit, and then seal along there. Other parlors I've milked in have been set up like that, and it works quite well. The stand height is about 15 inches. And for me, it's a little too low. Some of our smaller cows, you have to crouch over and look under to put the milker on. I would probably raise the stand height, if possible, another like 4 inches would probably be helpful. Outside, whenever we built this, I wasn't sure how my bedding was going to come up. We made ramps out of waste lime and packed it in, but my sawdust bedding actually came up to the level of where it's over the ramp now. So I would have probably, if I knew that was going to be how that worked out, I would have made this definitely taller. I just didn't want the cows to have to come up too high of a slope, but it really hasn't been any problem. There's probably like a 6 or 8 inch step coming in, and that's not a problem whatsoever. They could easily have made it over something. It would have been, more like 10 inches and they would be fine. I'm trying to think of any other things. We just had pipe. We bored out with a Forstner bit into these posts. I could get a measurement on the pipes, how high they are. I don't know for sure, but yeah, I set this up for 2, and then I made this gate to where it will swing in and latch, and then to release this cow, it will actually swing on around forward to let this cow out, and then you return it back. Once you swing it around to there, you will return it back here to let the front cow in. We have not used that part of it very much. And there again, this bar, like I said, is modified over what the front one is. If you had a straight through instead of coming in from the side, you would not need something like this, but I made this bar telescopes out to pull over. It would not be needed if you were just doing straight through. I probably would consider that, but I don't know if it's, yeah.